the search for greener pastures is also on the rise on a daily basis. The Nigerian youths have also taken using illegal means of migrating into other countries, not minding the harm or the risk involved in the process. The story of the 26 Nigerians, or 3 Nigerians that died on the Mediterranean, and the recent story about the selling of Nigerians in Libya is a pointer to these issues. Now, on last week Monday, I think the upper Monday, we had the DG of NAPTIP here, and we asked her concerning this 26 Nigerians, possibly because I said the special advisor to the president on diaspora specifically said only 3 were confirmed. So we'll go with the 3 for now.
For now.
Let's assume it's just 3 Nigerians. But here is what she said. Here's the clip of what that interview was about.
In this case, any responsible government, 26 young girls found dead on a foreign warship, ages 14 to 18, you'll be looking for all the information that you can get on it. So I expect to be hearing something. It's been a week from the government. So we cannot identify them yet, but we know that they left from this port in Nigeria. This was who took them. This is what we were saying. This is what the Italian government is doing. This is what Nigeria is asking for. Any such information at all?
Of course, we all know they left from Libya on their way to Europe. That's certain. If the investigations are going on, there's really not much anyone can do until investigations are over and the report comes out, and then we'll now do our own investigations.
For those that didn't watch that, that was the clip that was the response of the DG of NAPTIP. Joining us on the show is the ambassador, Ayo Olukanni. He was Nigeria's High Commissioner to Australia with a concurrent accreditation to New Zealand, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, and Pacific Island of Vanuatu. He's here to join us to shed some light on what we could have done on how we can address issues such as migrant issues or children or Nigerian citizens dying outside the shores of this country. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Maria. I'm very happy to be here, and you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you very much, sir. So you heard the DG's response. We're actually waiting for the reports or the results of the investigation from the Italian government. We knew they were supposed to carry out an autopsy. Yesterday on the show, I think either Jumoke or somebody specifically said that we have an ambassador in that country.
Yes.
What do you think could have been done better to approach, even though they said it's only 3 Nigerians, though, it's possibly not all 26 are citizens. What do you think should have been the first step, either from the NAPTIP DG, the consulate, or the ambassador? What exactly was the first step should have been?
First, let me say that this is another sad chapter as far as the whole crisis and question of the trafficking in person is concerned. And it's a big crisis. Internationally, I think we need to get it right first. And that's why we have what we call the Palermo Convention, the UN Convention on Transnational Organized Crimes. And it's 3 protocols. The 3 protocols deals with the question of trafficking in person, and especially women and children. Then the second aspect of course, also labor migration as well, in terms of exploitation of labor. And the third, of course, has to do with the question of illicit manufacture and trafficking in arms, because it's a big, huge crisis. And that's why we have that. It is that's the problem. And it is within the framework of that in which, of course, NAPTIP, of course, they say, was also created against the background of that convention. And I served in Vienna, Austria, as acting as chargé d'affaires and acting PAM rep. And that was where we had to deal with these particular issues in terms of the UNODC, through the UNODC. And I'm sharing this story because the practical experience is very important. And the need to also be very proactive is very important. When I served in Vienna, when I arrived in Vienna, we discovered that this trade is going on. We know it's been on for a long time, because there was also a time when the Italian parliament held a special session on the whole question of trafficking in women, especially from a part of our country. So we went to the police one of these days when we saw the newspapers.
Which police now?
The Vienna police. To discuss with them from the mission. And this is what the Nigerian missions does. Honestly speaking, most of the time they are proactive. So I said, look, listen, we cannot stay in here. So we went to the police to discuss that. Look, listen, this story about Nigerian women who are trafficked in the... we don't want you to give them permission again. Please let us have how we can reach them. And then do not give our girls permission to prostitute here again. You know what the police said? No. They said, sorry, sir. We're sorry, prostitution is legal here in Austria. Once you have your papers, no problem. And once you have your health cards. So this is part of the crisis in terms of the demand side. But it was good on our part as a mission to have, and this is what most of the mission does, honestly speaking. But they do so within the framework of the rules and regulations. Take, for example, in Vienna, the prostitution trade and commercial sector is controlled at the district level. Okay. Some district will say you can stay at this time of the night, 8 to 4. Others say go and go. So in the night, we also went out to try and. So when we saw that, we now decided to engage those people and say, look, how can we stop this particular trade here?
Honorable, coming back to the 26 women, once the news broke internationally that 26 Nigerian, we don't know how they knew that they were Nigerian, women were found dead on an Italian warship. Yes, yeah. We know that there's an ambassador, extraordinaire, with full plenipotentiary in Italy. Regardless of that, he was inaugurated in 2012, accredited by President Jonathan. What should have been the first step that he, as a representative of the Nigerian president in Italy, should have taken?
Usually, as a diplomat, when you're on ground, you have your networks and contact in terms of what is going on, even when times are normal. The media, of course, plays a very important role these days. Once you get that, the first thing which you should have done, which they should do, which we do normally, is to get in touch with our links in the foreign ministry and even the media. Okay. Like, look, listen, this is the story we're hearing. What exactly is happening? Can we get more information? From our own experience, I think the mission did. Okay. And I think they did in terms of what exactly. But if you look at the whole deluge and the crisis of it, the tendency is to say that, oh, is this another normal story which we hear about? But I think the mission was in touch. But on the other side...
Are they used to hearing stories like that and this doesn't bother them so much?
No, we can't say it doesn't bother them too much, because one of the first primary duty of a diplomatic mission is the welfare of the Nigerian community. Welfare of Nigeria.
Sorry.
So, if I want us to be forward-looking and propositional in this matter. Don't let us just be oppositional.
I don't want to be oppositional.
We look at the issue, because I speak to you, the AU itself, I just got news from the AU itself, they're on their way to Libya. The AU is taking up the issue because about 315,000 Africans in Libya, as I speak to you, they're on their way, they'll be on ground today, to look at what exactly to do. Countries that are involved, Egypt, Niger, Chad, Nigeria, they are all there. So the meeting is starting this morning in terms of what to do. Fantastic. One, to evacuate those nationals, to also discuss and start investigation. Okay. The AU is starting investigation.
And I just wanted to ask that if, like you say, the embassy was there, the ambassador was there, how come they didn't know they were burying the 26 girls?
Well, I wouldn't know what exactly happened in terms of the whole question of, because before you bury any national, you will have to inform.
Exactly. So they were wrong.
The mission. Wait a minute. You will have to inform the mission, because I had such experience before. Before you bury any national. Take, for example, what happened in China. I had an institution when I was spokesperson of the foreign ministry, and the Chinese cremate. So they call the mission, they'll tell the mission that, listen, we are cremating within a particular period. Okay. Please, if you don't want us to cremate, do something in respect of the corpse itself. So normally, the mission should have been informed by the Italian authorities that this is the action we are.
Thank you for establishing grounds for my suspicion, because yesterday I had the conspiracy theory that, especially now that the organ industry is very viable abroad. Yes. How come the bodies of these ladies were not available for Nigerians to see? Jumoke mentioned the instance of one of the bodies having inconsistent injury with drowning.
Yes.
And that body was laid to rest. How legit is this suspicion that the Italian government are not so innocent in this whole setting?
Okay.
Well, And that's why the whole question of the investigation, the arrangements to conduct more investigation to these is on at the national level. But like I also said, I mean, it has become an African crisis. And that's why, like I said, and I want to give credit to the AU because I was in touch with them yesterday night, and they told me this is what they're doing, that they are on to investigate what exactly is happening. Like I said, 315,000 in Libya. Libya, in the area of international law, is in the state of debillatio.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then the other one is after that, the investigation. There is going to be the AU, African AU meeting, starting very soon in Abidjan.
All right, let's take
going
a
to be
break. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, sir, we understand the problem. I don't want us to focus on the problem. The problem of the fact that young girls go to go on these dangerous trips. We understand that, and we understand everybody in their capacity is doing something to stop it. Our focus, sir, is our response. What is the government doing? How can we ensure that whenever our citizens are in trouble across anywhere in the world, that our people are up to their responsibility? There was a video that I saw yesterday. I think it was the UN responding immediately to the video of the auction. Remember we talked about it, that they are auctioning human beings for slaves in Libya, and suddenly there was a press briefing. We've not had any proper press briefing
from our people,
from our government.
This matter, I mean, Abikari tried. Yes, she did have a media briefing, but from the ambassador or from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, it's like we're not taking it. We're taking it with levity.
May I take it to another level?
It's even going. It goes to the top, from the president down.
Yes.
Nobody has addressed us.
Yes.
Nobody has talked about a solution to this problem.
Yes.
And nobody. I mean, they are not even telling not newspapers, TV stations. I don't carry in it.
I'll let you respond, Waike. I'll let you respond, sir. But I have to take this lady. She's a special advisor to the Delta State Governor on International Affairs. She's Genevieve Mordi. Are you on the phone, ma?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for joining us. We've been talking so much about the issue of the 26 girls that we found in the Spanish warship. We know Delta State government is doing a lot to rehabilitate a lot of young girls that are returning. What are you doing, however, to prevent them from going on these journeys in the first place?
But I watch your program, so you're doing good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, actually, on federal and on state levels, lots are being done. Like you said, Delta State is actually, or has actually implemented a lot of training for youth. We have got the Agric program, and we have got the skills training program. We even pay them to stay in the business that Delta State gives them. They get everything for free, and they actually have a mentoring team. And I know this isn't just happening in Delta State.
Right.
It's happening in other states as well.
Yes.
True.
It's happening in Lagos State. It's happening in other states as well. But you see, we have to treat the problem from the foundation.
Right.
And I say the foundation, I have to say there are three major things. The parents first.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is the peer pressure from parents. Oh, see what your mate has done. Your mate went to Italy, built 10 houses. Why haven't you built 10 houses? The truth is, years, in the 70s and 80s, going to Italy and prostituting was lucrative. Then the organ sale business was still silent. But now, the organ sale business is booming. So now, when the girls come in, they pick them up as prostitutes and then they kill them. Nigeria is talking about the 26 girls now. The second thing that is one of the factors for this problem is the internet. The internet makes people larger than life. You see people posing in big cars. Oh, that man went to Italy. He blew. I think that's the slang they use. But they don't know that that person is posing next to somebody else's car, or the person went and bought the car on credit. He's paying monthly. If he doesn't pay, the car is taken back.
All right, thank you very much,
that
ma'am.
connection. I'm so sorry. Hopefully she got back. So I wanted to come back to you, sir, on what you say. Yes, why?
I wanted to add to that question in that we haven't heard from them, but what we have heard from Italy, it seems compromised. As at yesterday, they were apologizing for burying the girls without, you know, officially telling the Nigerian government. But should we have been waiting as a government for Italy to investigate? When South Africans died in Nigeria, South Africa sent their people here. They didn't wait. They didn't wait. So how come Nigeria is waiting? The DG of NAPTIP was saying that we are waiting. Okay, so if they committed a crime, are they going to come and tell you that we committed a crime?
Okay, sir, would you like to respond?
They are collecting Ashwabi for the burial.
Enlighten us, please. We want to know.
I do agree with you that we need to have, you know, be a little bit more proactive in this particular area. You know, but you must recognize that in terms of relationship between states and institutions, you do have problems, unnecessary administrative quarrels.
Okay.
I've had cases, and I give you a good example. I served 4 years in Israel. At that particular period in Tel Aviv, the pilgrimage operation was the route through which people have been trafficked. Pilgrimage operation. And the Israelis at the particular point suspended, said, we don't want pilgrims again, because when you have pilgrims, 52 in the bus from Ben Gurion, by the time the bus gets to Elat, you only have their bags. Maybe only 3 or 4 passengers. So they stopped it. And then they now said, okay, so we now said, okay, what we want to do is to work with you to prevent people coming in. And we said, we want to go into the aircraft to go and identify who is and who is not. Now, the problem is that to be able to do that, you need clearance from the securities as far as the Israeli operators themselves are concerned.
Exactly.
Those are the practical some of things.
Exactly.
But the key issue, which of course, and I'm happy the representative from Delta State has captured it in terms of one action on our part. I'm sorry to say, Mgeni, in 2009, in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we held a national conference on dangers of illegal migration. We invited all state governors, 2009. I was the spokesperson of the Foreign Ministry. You know, most of the states did not even answer us. They didn't come because we identified a few states, very few of them came, and we had a program of action. But you know what happened? Subsequently, we now had a documentary on television, which we did in cooperation with the Spanish government to highlight the issue and tell state government that, look, this is what you should do. Preventive action as far as this issue are concerned.
Okay, all right, point taken.
So help me understand, because, you know, the example Jumoke just gave made me think, you know, that, you know, when South Africans came here legitimately through the right channel, you know, it was easier for their government to have data. If our people are going through the wrong channels, you know, migrating through different means, this is not a new occurrence. It's been happening. The Mediterranean channel has been on forever. How proactive are the Nigerian government, you know, looking into that place to make sure that you have the right figures? Because now we are disputing 26 against 3. Now, is it because, you know, we don't have proper records and because it's difficult to have them?
Records.
What are we doing?
Because
we cannot. What are we doing now, you know, to be proactive, to, you know, to be ready for this kind of things?
Let me put it in proper context, you know, for you. One, when you tell Nigerians when they travel abroad, please just swing by the mission that I'm here. A lot of people do not come, they don't, because of our belief and failure and the fact that...
When there is queue.
No. I mean, because of the belief that we lost faith in ourselves, that our institution function.
Because of my daughter, she said, once I go like this, she's going to throw away her Nigerians. Because they kept her in front of the embassy for 2 hours to get her passport. Outside, in the cold, in November.
I'm giving you...
In November, in the cold. What is ordinary 2 hours?
I'm giving you practical example of it. I'm telling you what you people do. When I got to Australia, one of the things we did, and which is one, is that to do a draft program of cooperation on cooperation with the Nigerian community. And we send it out to everybody. When you even tell Nigerians, when they come, please join the association. They say, Nigerian association. Me, I no go because they will have problems. And this. At the end of the day, sometimes it is those community that help them. Because you need that to be able to reach out. Secondly, we have 10,000 Nigerians in Australia. 10,000 Nigerians. They are professionals. Because the terrain in which you operate are different. I was in Vienna The crisis in Vienna was different from Australia. Because in Vienna, you had a lot of this crisis, illegal migrants. In Australia, you cannot stray into Australia. Most of them are professionals. We have about 2,000 doctors. So we didn't have this problem in terms of it. So that is why, of course, the AU itself and the EU recognizes, and in Cote d'Ivoire, in the next few days, discussion will start in terms of what exactly...
I need to talk.
Go ahead.
I need to talk. Because, you see, this one that you are praising the Nigerian embassy, I don't... I know that Nigerians themselves are the ones that gather themselves and they form communities and they help each other, not the embassy. But I don't want to even go that.
No. The Niger initiative.
I'm not even going that route with you.
Let's
leave that one. I want to tell you that because I was listening to the lady that's called.
Yes.
And you see, if we have a, like your view here, we have a problem. Then only two of us start discussing the problem. We do not announce the problem and make it something.
Everybody.
What is going to happen? The problem will just die. Nothing will happen. If you start to sensitize people, the government is not doing anything about sensitizing. Look, if you
they're making
no, don't tell me that. Look, there has to be adverts. They have footage. CNN is. I have to go to. What do you call this TV? Cable TV to go and be watching what is happening in Libya. I should be able to see it on my own national TV, and so that all the people that are watching, you say, this is what happens when we go. It will start to discourage people.
That's sensitization.
They are not discouraging people. They say they are having a meeting. We are having a meeting. And the meeting we're having is within ourselves. Nobody knows about the meeting. I've never heard about the meeting. Until you start to sensitize people, tell people what you are going to meet when you get there, that the grass is not greener on the other side.
Let me pause you for a second, because the truth is that what Honorable Abike Dabiri tried to remind us, that listen, this 26 is coming to the fore because we've heard of it. There are so many that have died.
Lots. How many has she told us about?
A lot have died. It's just that this one broke and we know about it. So the real...
It's broke on foreign media.
So in fairness to the Nigerian government, you cannot... Let's be fair a bit, sir. And I want you to understand saying, how can we understand the investigation from in their own territory? You can't. We have to wait for them to give us the reports. We can't actually go there and say, okay,
wait.
Hang in there, Jumoke.
That defense has already been
that tip was saying that they're waiting for reports. Is that a fair statement? Say we're waiting for reports from the Italian government, or could we have gone there?
Can I throw the question back to you?
Ourselves? We can't go there to investigate ourselves.
Can I throw the question back to you, Murayo?
Yes.
God forbid, but anything happens to a member of your family, will you be waiting for Jumoke to come and tell you that what is happening? You will not wear your trouser. The day that my car got missing, me that I like to do color, I wore purple trouser, green shirt. By the time I was like a flag of many colors, I did not think of my dressing. I went looking for my car. You go
seeking information.
Let's take a break.
Hey,
let's calm down. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So let's bring all this conversation into proper perspective. Yes, Nima.
See how enraged everybody is. Help us understand what the Nigerian government should be able to do in another sovereign country. You know, what our limits are as regards investigating the cause of death of these ladies, whether, you know, we have any rights to go into their investigations, use their police to get anything, you know, done in another country.
Well, thank you. Let me first appeal that I think it's a very emotional issue. We should, as much as possible, calm down to be able to, make sense of this discussion and what's to be done. I think the first thing we should do, and which, of course, YK and others also have spoken about, continuous education to tell people that, look, the streets of Europe are not tied, are not paved with gold.
Right.
Continuous education to tell, please, and that involves a kind of also travel advisory. Okay. You know, some people have even been talking about we need to also have an exit permit. Well, we don't want to go to that particular area.
So investigations.
So one, I think the first thing we should do is continuous education. Television, social media, please, if you don't have no business going out, do not go out. Okay. Secondly, There's a process which is going on now, which is called the Global Forum on Migration and Development. Because migration is now being looked at in context of development. Take, for example, about $20 billion come out from the remittances from abroad. So the process is going on now to make sure that migration takes place within the context of regular migration.
Not answering Lima's question on investigations within Italy and our limits as a government.
I'm coming to that, please. The third aspect of it is that a global compact is on its way, which will also facilitate the point and the issue you're raising, that when it becomes necessary to do investigation in a particular place, then there will be cooperation within the framework of that particular. So international cooperation. And that was why at the beginning, I mentioned the 3 additional protocols to the Palermo Convention, which gives you opportunity.
I can see why you're a diplomat. I can see
why you are an ambassador. So it is,
because everything you are doing here is diplomatic. Mabinu is just like this and it's like that.
I had a case of a Nigerian who died, and that's why I'm giving a practical example. Akpatanyi died in the airport in Switzerland, in Zurich, when he was being deported. And the mission took it up that there was investigation into it. The director of migration of the Swiss authorities came to Nigeria because one of the protests and the request we asked for in respect of it. So that we have to do.
Okay, so
in terms of taking advantage of the various international instruments which are available for us to.
God forbid this ever happens again. What's the role of the Minister of Foreign Affairs? We haven't heard him at all. We've been hearing Honorable Abike Dabiri, and she's just supposed to be a senior special advisor to the president.
I thought the Minister of Foreign Affairs had addressed the issue.
We haven't heard him.
We haven't heard. I mean, he should be on every TV station. Every TV station. Look, I say Nigerian government, from the president down, they should have bought airtime on all the TV stations, because maybe TV station is not their business, it's their private, so they can't afford that advert. Nigerian government by themselves buy 1 hour on all the TV stations every day for the next 2 years, so that Nigerians stop leaving the shores of this country.
Look, I remember, I think it was IBB's government when they did
Andrew no check out. Andrew no check out.
Nigeria go better.
Let's let our guests.
They need to have promos. Okay. And I also, of course, want to suggest that TVC and others, as part of their corporate social responsibility, should also have 30-second adverts.
They are paying salary.
And other places.
Then
finally,
we have to round up, sir.
Yes, finally.
This is absolutely regrettable that we have become cows without tails. Where is the conscience of our leaders? Adejob Moses Adejo says, the problem with Nigeria is that we do not have value for citizens' life. And Olusoga says, why blaming the government for what is not? I sympathize with the lost soul because it involves lives. We should train our word to know that what is right and what is wrong.
Olawale Samson says, most of the people who go on these dangerous journeys don't watch TV. It's high time we do a door-to-door awareness. Brian Ife says, thank you, YK. The problem of illegal immigration is firstly a Nigerian problem. Youth want a way out of the very bad conditions in Nigeria, and they will not mind putting their lives at risk. The federal government has been insensitive even until now. Oluwatoyin says, sir, educational system is poorly managed. The health system is electrical. Unemployment on the rise. Please, what areas do we do well in?
We have to round up, sir, and I'm going to let you have the last words.
Yes. Can we do this again tomorrow or next week?
We did it yesterday. This is a continuation. But in fairness to the Nigerian government, I know they are making efforts, because we've actually seen they are sympathizing with the families of those who died. So, but you know, no matter how much you try, no matter what, Nigerians are very cynical concerning things like this. So they will never trust. We've lost trust in our government. We don't believe that they're actually working in our interest. But so I want you to speak on behalf of the government. Like, let's have some trust to the government. Tell us what exactly the government has done. So make us even feel that, yes, something's been done. Something's been done.
Well, first, I said that the Nigerian missions function, honestly speaking. It's not a perfect institution. It's an institution that has served this country over 50 years. So an appeal is that when Nigerians travel abroad, despite whatever their feelings, they should swing by the mission, even if to shake hands, say, I am here. Because I have had such experiences, and of course, people who said, because we have to fight for them, say, thank you for fighting for me. I'm sorry we discountenance you. That's one issue, first. Secondly, we also have to do a lot of work. At the end of the day, the problem is home. Governance, government, is important.
Yes, sir.
Let us create a better society
all.
in which people will not have cause to say they're going to. Don't forget, migration is ever been an issue historically, and it will continue to be so.
Right.
So, but the first thing is to create an ambience at home where people can have work. Our young people will be able to have work so that they will not have to travel abroad.
Okay, thank you. Unfortunately,
and that's
all we can
take on the head.
Unfortunately, that's all we can take on this show. The matter is still ongoing because hopefully, according to, again, special advisor to the government, to the president, she said that they're going to take this to the highest diplomatic level. The idea of burying these girls without
we of your view shall not.
So we are following the story. Hopefully, after that investigation, we'll now see what happens and then we'll discuss it again. Then we'll probably now bring her on the show.
And then the DJ of NAPTIP that went and told us that she will come back when she has information. We're also waiting for her.
She doesn't have information
That's
yet.
all we can take on the show. Don't forget, if you'd like to be a lady of your view, please don't forget. Please, nobody should call my phone and say, "Hey, I want to be a lady of your view," or send me messages, or say your sister, your auntie. Just go and upload your video. I don't want to.
Hashtag your view.
Don't send those messages. We cannot do it. Please go by the normal route. Then we'll now do a proper, transparent audition. I beg. Nobody should call my phones. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Hashtag your view auditions. Yes. Very simple.